I've got a 1,000 round review of the Ruger LCP2 and 22 long rifle for y'all today. So, I bought this gun about a month ago, and I wanted to make myself wait until we had an even 1,000 rounds through it before doing the review so that we had a good sample size to talk about. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and get that safety check out of the way. We have an empty magazine and an empty chamber. So, with that being said, I was really excited about the LCP2 and 22 long rifle when I first heard that it was coming out, until I learned about the manual safety. On a modern carry gun, I don't really dig the idea of a manual safety. I think it's redundant and potentially dangerous if you forget to disable it and you really need that extra split second that it takes you to realize your safety's on, if that's the difference between you staying alive or not. Don't love it conceptually. I will say I've changed my tune a little bit on this particular gun having a manual safety, because the LCP1 has a double action trigger, but this has a single action trigger. And a single action trigger coupled with my primary mode of carry, which is holsterless, just using this pocket clip to retain the weapon in my belt or in my pants if I'm not wearing a belt, gym shorts or whatever. I don't hate the idea of having a manual safety on the gun, and I will confess to you that I have been using it. If there were an option to buy a model that did not have a manual safety, I probably would. But ultimately, it's not the end of the world that it's on the gun. I'll tell you what is a lot less attractive to me is the presence of the magazine disconnect safety. What that means is that with a magazine removed from the firearm, the trigger cannot be activated. I'll tell you why I think that's a terrible idea on a carry gun, briefly, especially something this small. If you intend to use this defensively, it's a reasonable bet that you're going to be up close. And if you're using a weapon defensively up close, grappling is a distinct possibility. It's very possible that you're going to be right on top of the aggressor, or he's going to be right on top of you, more likely. And in that scenario, it's really easy to imagine the magazine release button being accidentally bumped. And if you lose that magazine, you might really wish that you had that one in the chamber to get them off you. And you're not going to with the LCP2 unless you disable that magazine disconnect safety. I'm not sure how to do that. If somebody watching this video knows how to do that, please drop me a line. Likewise, if there are any updates on models being offered without a mechanical safety, I'd be interested in hearing about it. If you guys hear anything, please let me know. So, like I said, 1,000 rounds through the gun, and I think we ought to lead off with a discussion about reliability, because that is one of the standard talking points with any 22 long rifles. Is it reliable? So I gathered some data for y'all, and I'm just going to give you the data, and I am going to then afterward offer my interpretation of that data. I leave it to you to make your own judgment about the figures that I'm going to present here. So 1,000 rounds fired. Most of that was this federal bulk pack stuff that you would buy at Walmart, and a couple of other, bulk type ammunition. Sorry, flashlight fell over. Flashlight, by the way, is a Olight M2R Pro Warrior. Still pretty new to me, but I like it. I'd say it's at the upper end of what's acceptable as a carry flashlight. That deep carry pocket clip does make it more forgiving. It's in the same size range, more or less, as like a Maglite XL series light, but 1,800 lumens. Tough to beat. And then it also has a 50-day mode, but maybe we'll do a separate video on this, maybe not. So far, so good. Anyway, 1,000 rounds through the gun, and I did gather some data of those 1,000 rounds. Most of it was bulk ammo. 300 rounds also of the CCI Mini Mag, which is probably for now the preferred carry load, although I am open to considering other options. So of those 1,000 rounds, I had 21 total failures of all types, and that, if we were to take that data at face value, 21 out of 1,000 represents a failure rate of about 2%. There are reasons why I think you might not want to take that data at face value, though. And because I was able to catalog what types of malfunctions I was having with what types of ammunition, under what conditions those malfunctions occurred, because I cataloged all of that, we'll just have a short conversation, I guess. So I bought the gun, rushed from the gun store to my brother's house. He's got a little trail cut in the back of his house in the backyard where we're able to shoot bottles and stuff like that with 22s. So we set up some bottles and started getting to work. And that first magazine, I had 5 failures to feed. So not a great start, right? But to be fair, I didn't break the gun down. I rushed straight from the gun store to my brother's house and started working. And really, it should have been broken down, cleaned, and oiled. And also, it's not uncommon for a new gun out of the box to have a break-in period. So I decided to give the thing the benefit of the doubt, and I just loaded it back up with the same bulk pack ammo I was shooting. And I had no more problems for the rest of the day. The failure to feed problem did not reappear. And out of those 250 rounds, I had no additional failures of any kind. So I'm going to chalk up those 5 out of that first magazine to break-in. Very clearly break-in related to me. Also out of that 21, I had 7 failures to fire with bulk pack ammunition, which really is not bad in total, considering I fired 700 rounds of bulk pack ammunition. Having 7 failures, a failure rate of 1% with this cheap crap you buy in bulk packs from Walmart or whatever, not bad. So 5 and 7 is 12. And then I had 1 failure to eject with bulk pack ammunition. So, all right, 8 total failures with bulk pack ammunition, not counting the 5 that I attribute to break-in. 7 failures to fire, 1 failure to eject, which leaves us with 8 malfunctions to account for. And those did occur with CCI Mini Mag jacketed hollow points, the preferred carry load. But it's not what you think. So for years, I've done something that very few other people seem to do, and that's to take a gun with me into the water. I swim with a firearm. I hit the river, kayaking, beach, whatever, with a gun. And if I have the option to put it in a Ziploc bag and I feel like that is still accessible, then great. And if not, okay, fine. Specifically, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Went tubing with some friends and decided to jump out of the tube. We were out on the river for 4 or 5 hours. Decided to jump out a couple times and swim around these sandbars and whatnot. Probably spent about an hour in the water total. And I had a little LCP2 on me. This is the sort of thing I've done for years with the LCP1, and just accept that it's a tool, and part of its purpose for existing is to absorb damage, right? As much as possible, we mitigate that. I've applied a Cerakote finish to this, for example, but you accept that it's a tool and it's going to see wear. Part of that for me means having the option to defend myself on the water. So for years I've done it with the LCP1 and 380, and it's never been a problem. So I decided to do it with the LCP2 and 22 long rifle, loaded up with these CCI mini mags. And I thought I'd probably be in good shape because the mini mags, unlike the bulk pack ammunition, the bullets don't rotate. They're on there pretty good. And there's a little wax seal, it seems, between the bullet and the case. But I got the gun home after a day on the river, threw it in the ultrasonic, and cleaned it up, oiled it, and hit the pistol range the next day with that same magazine and the round that was in the chamber, with those same 11 rounds of CCI Mini Mag hollow points. And 8 of them failed to fire. So pretty obvious what happened. The river water got to them and was able to disturb the priming compound. So that's a bummer. If somebody knows of a more waterproof 22 long rifle cartridge solution, that would be information that I'd appreciate having, because the Mini Mag, while it's a great load as far as 22 long rifle goes, and it otherwise has been completely reliable out of this gun and everything else I've ever shot with it, that not having a waterproof option in an underwear, pajama, swimsuit type gun is a big disadvantage in my opinion. So 8 of those failures are river bullets. 5 again are break-in related, which leaves us with 7 failures to fire bulk pack ammunition and 1 failure to eject with bulk pack ammunition. That's the full report. So in total, a failure rate of about 2%. getting rid of those 5 break-ins and the 8 river bullets, I think we can safely accept a failure rate of less than 1%. And that's with bulk pack ammunition. If you're using something like this CCI mini mag, which I've put 300 rounds of this stuff through the gun, so long as you don't submerge the rounds for an hour plus in the river, probably in pretty good shape. Probably going to have a failure rate of real close to 0. But as far as going with the 22 over the 380, of course, it's cheaper to practice with, and practice with something this small is going to be paramount. You really don't want to be fighting with this, really. I mean, if you had the choice and you knew there was going to be a fight, you wouldn't show up, and if you had to show up, it wouldn't be with this. You know what I'm saying? So if this is what you're going to have on you when you're working out, gym shorts, swimming, or, pajama, underwear type gun around the house, whatever, if this is your last ditch, you're going to want to be pretty competent with it, which is harder to do with 380 due to cost. And in my case, I only had one weapon in 380, so I was buying ammunition for one pistol. And it's expensive, so I'm able to train a lot more for a lot less money with the 22 long rifle. A lot less recoil, which translates to faster follow-up shots. And it's not an issue for me personally, but if a person had some sort of underlying physical limitation, that lower recoil might allow them to put rounds on target more reliably than something in center fire. It's slightly lighter, fully loaded, with 11 rounds of 22 than an LCP 2 and 380 loaded with 7 rounds of 380 automatic. Take that for what it's worth. The slide is very easy to rack, why they call it a light rack, which, again, not an issue for me personally, but for some shooters dealing with physical limitations, whatever they are, having a slide that's a little bit easier to retract might be a selling point. The big one for me is cost to train. And due to that cost to train, I've been able to, and I'm no Jerry Michalek or anything like that, but at my pistol club, we have a 50-yard pistol range, and we have half-scale silhouettes, steel silhouettes, and I'm able to reliably ring those at 50 yards all day with this little LCP 2 and 22 long rifle. 50 yards is well outside of what you can realistically expect to need to do in a defensive encounter with a handgun like this. So accuracy, better than expected. Reliability, very good. In my experience, I am disappointed by the fact that the ammunition can't be submerged because I do take a gun with me into the water. Let's see. That pretty much gets me through the reasons why a person might want to go with 22 over 380. In summary, it's cheaper to practice, there's less recoil, it's slightly lighter, you have 11 rounds on deck instead of 7, and the weapon is a little bit easier to manipulate, which may or may not matter to you. Reasons why you might not want to go with the 22 long rifle over the 380, in my opinion. Rated in order of importance, with most important being first. Reliability, man. Reliability, and it's just a consequence of that rimfire ammunition. With a quality load like the CCI Mini Mag, reliability is excellent, but there are limitations. Even with just basic ball ammunition in the 380 or 9mm or 45 guns I've carried over the course of the years and submerged, it's never been an issue. Taking a gun into the water has never been an issue. I've never had rounds fail to go, but with the 22 long rifle, it has been. So even if that were the only reliability concern, and I think if you're going with a modern quality 22 long rifle loading, there's every reason to believe that it'll run, but as well as, a modern centerfire round. But that waterproofing aspect is worth considering, in my opinion. And then your practice ammunition. I would argue actually that a failure rate of 1% is pretty close to what I would expect to get out of centerfire target ammunition in the vein of like Winchester White Box or Wolf, Thule ammo, anything like that. I would expect a failure rate of 1%-ish out of that stuff. That's what I've experienced anyway. So reliability, big concern. And then not far behind is power, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think the 380 represents a significantly more powerful fighting option than the 22 long rifle out of a small little handgun like this. I'm not going to say that. I think they're both trash. The 22, though, I will concede, is trashier. It's going to be less powerful, all right? It's just a fact of the game. I think most handgun cartridges, but specifically handguns this small, are what you're doing is you have a remote ice pick. You're poking holes from a distance. All that business about expansion and stuff, cool. Probably not really going to happen in something in the size factor, form factor of a Ruger LCP. I would suggest if you're carrying a 380 to carry ball and not even worry about the expansion stuff. It's not going to happen. The velocities aren't high enough. And even if it does happen, you might not want it to because it's going to affect penetration adversely. And, you know, this is my experience. Your mileage might vary, right? But I think you're basically just poking holes. So you're poking a 22 caliber hole versus a 35 caliber hole. And yeah, the 380 weighs more. Penetration characteristics are probably going to be better. But better is relative, right? Yes, it's better. Let me be emphatic. 380 is more powerful, but 380 and 22 long rifle out of a handgun this small are trash. If you had a better fighting option, you should use it instead. So power are reasons why you might not want to go with the 22 model over the 380. And then things we already talked about. The manual safety and the magazine disconnect. These are features that are not present on the 380 model. So may or may not matter to you. Some other things to consider with the LCP2 and 22 long rifle is, okay, let's say you're not going to carry it. Why might you have a gun like this? If you're not going to carry it, if it's not going to be your underwear, pajama, swimsuit gun, why might you want it? I want to talk about the idea of a kit gun, which is a term I've heard thrown around on message boards and stuff for 15 years. And I've never really known what it meant. And I still don't know what it means. I'll tell you what it means to me, and you can tell me why I'm wrong. For me, a kit gun is something like this, where I can, inside of a bulk pack ammunition box, have some higher quality ammo, maybe some ear protection, magazine loader, which comes with the LCP2 and 22 long rifle. It's actually excellent. If you don't want to carve up your thumbs on those magazine feed lips, this thing is a godsend. And then a nice little stack of magazines. I think I have 5 or 6 in there. And then in the bed, just have some bulk pack ammunition. I can just grab this and go. I can grab this and go and have a fun day in my brother's backyard busting bottles. That, to me, is what a kit gun is. It's small, grab and go, very simple. I saw on one of the more mainstream YouTube channel reviews of this gun that it's not a good pick as a kit gun because it's not accurate enough. I just have to firmly disagree, which might get us into a conversation about upgrades that you might want to make to the weapon, modifications you might want to make to the weapon, and really they're features that I think the gun should be shipping with anyway. For one, the finish. This has an olive drab Cerakote finish applied to it. And it's true, I have a weakness for green stuff. I just do, I always have. But the finish that this weapon ships with is simply not very good. It's like a old school kind of blued finish. And again, my philosophy of use with this gun is an underwear, workout, swimming gun, whatever, pajama gun. So I took this with me on a hike. And I was out for, I don't know, it was like a 6-mile hike. And it was pretty hot. It was this past month in southern Georgia. And I got the gun back, and immediately, as soon as I got back, I'm pretty good about it too. I'm pretty good about cleaning my stuff when I get back from the field or whatever I'm doing. Immediately, I got home, I took the gun out of my gym shorts, and freckling all over the slide from where it had been in contact with my sweaty body, which I don't dig. It was still very new, and it hadn't been neglected. I was getting ready to clean it. It started rusting immediately. So I would like to see this ship from the factory with a modern ceramic type Cerakote finish, something more durable, something more corrosion resistant. I don't know why any new guns are shipping with blued anything. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's antiquated. It's a controlled rust process in itself. We have better options now. Just go ahead and coat them. And you could offer colors too. You could, from the factory, Ruger, you could do green, pink for the ladies, that Tiffany blue, black, bronze, gray, sky's the limit, FDE. Give people the option, right, of selecting a color slide, and also it gives better corrosion resistant properties, which is important if you're going to be carrying this and exercising, carrying this and swimming, anything like that, being active. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. If I'm wearing pants with a belt, I'd probably rather have something like a Glock 17, Glock 19, depending on your frame. But if you're in gym shorts, if you're in a swimsuit, if you're in your pajamas, this ain't a bad option. It's better than nothing. It's better than throwing rocks. So I would say from the factory, I'd like to see a better finish. Because I'm mostly carrying this in gym shorts, swimsuit, sweatpants, whatever, I like the pocket clip. Simple, grab and go, stuff it in. You don't need a holster, you don't need a belt. So I would like to see these shipped from the factory with a pocket clip as an option, which might add cost. I don't know. Even if they don't come from the factory that way, it's a modification you might want to consider making depending on your philosophy of use for this gun. And then this is a big one. There's really no excuse for Ruger shipping these without some contrast on the front sight. I just took some orange nail polish and applied it to the front sight, and worlds better in terms of target acquisition, and being able to find the front sight. I would like to see a night sight option, honestly, from the factory. Something we'd have to pay for, I'm sure. Increases the cost of ownership, but yeah, you really do want some contrast on that front sight. I'd recommend just like a dab of orange nail polish would do it. And that's pretty much it for modifications. Some upgrades that I might suggest for Ruger, like they're listening to me, but if you are listening, I would like to see, and I'm probably the only guy in the world asking for this, I would like to see a 25 ACP conversion unit. Could be an upper half that allows you to convert this to 25 automatic, which has similar recoil and wounding properties as 22 long rifle, but it's centerfire, which would cure some of the reliability ails of carrying around an LCP2 and 22 long rifle, which are I think badly overstated. The reliability of the 22 is actually pretty good, but I'd be a buyer of a 25 automatic upper half, just so that I would have that centerfire assurance, and I think that it would allow me to take the gun into the water, which is important to me. I would like to see an extended magazine that holds maybe 15 rounds, something like that. I've seen extended magazines for the 380 automatic model that give you an extra round, but it seems like we could get a few extra rounds for the same size in an extended magazine for the 22 long rifle model. And if we don't get that 25 automatic upper half, I'd like to maybe see Ruger or CCI or somebody get to work on a more water resistant cartridge for those of us who, are active and like to take the guns onto the water with us. Did I say threaded barrel? If not, I would like to see a threaded barrel. For those of us in suppressor states, which I think most of us are in suppressor states now, I think you can own them just about everywhere. Having a threaded barrel would just be an extra element of fun. Night sights would also be cool. If anybody is in the custom fabrication market and you want to throw some night sights on this for me, drop me a line. So I guess that leaves us with one question. It's really the only question for a gun like this, in my opinion. Again, you might use it as a kit gun, something to just grab and go and have fun with. I think there are maybe better target options in the 22 long rifle form, like a Mark III, Mark IV, Browning Buck Mark, whatever. But this is fun, and it's accurate enough to bust bottles with, out to 20, 25 yards. You can have a good time with it. Trigger's surprisingly good. Other things that surprise me is how available magazines are. You can find them pretty much everywhere, and they're affordable. 2-packs are running, as of this video post date, around $40, and I've got, 6 or 7 magazines total now. So again, the question, kind of the only question that matters for this gun, is would you carry it? Would I carry it? Yes, but barely. Not having the option to submerge the gun, not having the option to take it on the water without a Ziploc bag is a real downside for me personally. I still think that it's a viable pajama gun, workout gun. I took it with me on my workout today, and a good swimsuit gun if you can deal with the fact that you can't actually submerge it unless you have some sort of Ziploc bag or a more water-resistant cartridge than the CCI Mini Mag. Those drawbacks are present, but I would carry it. And the reasons are that I can train more with it, so I do train more with it because it's more affordable to do so. I no longer have to buy a special cartridge for just one gun in my collection. That's cool too. But I get to practice a lot with it, and as a consequence, I'm getting pretty good with it. And something this small, which puts you at such a disadvantage, you want to be pretty sharp with it. Something you can do on a budget with 22 long rifle. 11 rounds instead of 7, I consider that a win. And lower recoil means that I'm able to get shots off more accurately, more quickly with the 22 model than I can with the 380. So yeah, I would carry it, and I have been carrying it a lot this past last month or so. But I am conscious of the fact that there are some drawbacks associated with carrying this gun and this cartridge. And that's not to say that some of them can't be improved. Maybe they can. I think a 25 automatic upper half for carry would be great. Train with the 22, throw the 25 on for more serious work. Or maybe a better 22 long rifle, more water resistant 22 long rifle carry load is the ticket. But as of this posting, I do consider it a viable backup gun option, last ditch gun, pajama gun, underwear gun, a gun you can have on you all the time. For those of you who are living an active lifestyle, you know how hard it can be to carry a gun while you're working out. Something like this you can actually have on you while you're getting your workouts in. You can actually have it on you when you're in a bathing suit. These things matter, right? You want to get your carry percentage as close to 100% as you can get it without breaking the law. And something like this might help you bridge the gap during those times when you otherwise would not be able to carry a firearm. Something like this might give you that option. Maybe the 22 is not for you. Maybe you want the 380, not knocking it. I carried one for years. And if I'm not able to address the water resistance issue that seems to be present with the 22 long rifle, I might carry a 380 again in the future. And for some of you, this model might be useful as a training analog. Maybe you already have the 380 and you want this to train with. I am not sure how well that would work. The manual of arms is different. You have a magazine disconnect and a manual safety on the 22 model. And for those reasons, I'm not sure how well the training will transfer from the 22 model to the 380 model. That'll be for you to decide on your own. Might be useful as a training analog though. And ultimately, really happy with the gun. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you buy it. And stay tuned. I'd like to make this a series. We'll check back in, let's say in 2,000 more rounds, we'll do a 3,000 round review and just see where we're at with the Ruger LCP2 and 22 long rifle. Thank you all for watching.